Welcome to the Young Turks. Cenk Ugranic sparing with you guys. A lot of times I start the show in a jovial mood. Not today. I am in a sour mood, if you will, and it's related to the stories. And so buckle up, brace for impact. Everyone in our path. Okay, with that fair warning, Anna, you've got the news.
All right, let's get to it. We're learning more about the 15-year-old suspect in the Oxford High School shooting that took place this week, which led to the tragic deaths of 4 students. 7 others are injured and are still some of them are still receiving treatment for their injuries. Now, we're learning that there were warning signs prior to the shooting taking place, and we're also learning more details in regard to what the teachers were noticing about the students' behavior, the shooter's behavior. And we'll give you more details about his identity. His name has been released. Ethan Crumbley is his name. And we're now going to show you what the warning signs were and what prosecutors are now saying in regard to the charges that Crumbley is facing.
He faces 24 charges, including terrorism causing death and 4 counts of first-degree murder.
In terms of the premeditation required for a first-degree murder charge, this just wasn't even a close call, unfortunately. This was deliberate. This was planned well in advance, and disturbingly so.
Investigators say they discovered troubling videos on the suspect's cell phone from the night before the deadly incident. While they did not give specifics,
he talked about shooting and killing students the next day at Oxford High School.
The Oakland County Sheriff says the suspect had meetings with school officials the day before and the day of the shooting for concerning behavior and another undisclosed issue.
In fact, the parents were brought in the morning of the shooting and had a face-to-face meeting with the school. We did not learn of that meeting nor of the content of that meeting until after the shooting.
So they detail some of the behavioral issues that the teachers were noticing. And by the way, detail is a strong word because they haven't really detailed much in regard to what his behavior was, what he was doing that made the teachers concerned. We'll give you more details about what we have at the moment, but there were also other warning signs based on his social media posts prior to the shooting taking place. And also investigators found 2 videos on the suspect's cell phone made the night before the shootings in which he talked about shooting and killing students at the high school. Sheriff's Lieutenant Tim Willis said at the arraignment Wednesday. By the way, he has pleaded not guilty to the charges he's facing. Also, another piece of evidence investigators uncovered is a journal that was in the suspect's backpack that detailed his desire to shoot up the school to include murdering students, Lieutenant Tim Willis said during the arraignment as well. And we have, some more information about what the teachers are saying. But Cenk, why don't you jump in first?
Yeah. You know how many shootings there's been on school campuses since just August 1st? So September, October, November, 3 months, okay? And this is just K through 12. And we're not talking college or anything like that. 32. 32 school shootings in the last 3 months. You probably didn't hear about the great majority of them. Why? Because in America, they're super common. They're so common, it doesn't make news. Now, if you live in America, you think that's normal. The rest of the world, they can't believe it. Like, really? You allow your students, your children, to get murdered all the time, very regularly. Well, you think about it. 3 months, that's about 90 days, 32 shootings. So 1 out of every 3 days, your kids somewhere in the country are gonna get murdered at their schools. Now, why doesn't it happen in any other country? And if you're in America, you think, oh, no, I'm sure they're shooting people up left and right in the schools in Britain and Kenya and China. No, they're not. None of them. Almost no other place. They don't allow their kids to get murdered. We do. Why? Oh, I got a hobby. It's guns. Guns are cool, man. And I need it for government tyranny. So your kids are gonna get murdered. Not a big deal because I got a hobby. He's a 15-year-old. Why was he able to kill 4 people? Because he had a gun. You think he could have strangled 4 people to death as a 15-year-old in the middle of everyone else? No, but with a gun, he does it super efficiently, just like every other killer does in America. We've lost our minds in America, totally, utterly lost. When you allow your kids to get killed, nonstop slaughter of children. Because, the gun companies have to make more money, and right-wingers, oh no, guns. To them, their guns are more important than their kids. That's the sick people we have in this country. And of course, legalized bribery. So those gun manufacturers and the NRA pay off Republicans. Every Republican's corrupt. So they're like, oh yeah, I'd much rather take your donation and let the kids get killed. Who cares about the kids? I took your donation. I have more power, more fame, more money. So that's why your kids get killed. These are facts. They can make you uncomfortable, but they're absolutely stone cold facts.
Yeah, and I mean, what I pointed out on the show yesterday while covering this story was just how, interesting it is to have these two stories happen simultaneously. On one hand, you have the school shooting. On the other hand, you have the Supreme Court hearing oral arguments in regard to Mississippi's anti-abortion law. And the argument is, well, we got to outlaw abortion because we're talking about, babies. We're talking about babies' lives when it comes to abortion, right? But these tend to be the very same people under the same political group and party that seem to think that we need absolutely no common sense gun laws. I mean, the parents just allowed their kid to have easy access to this gun. And for the first time that I've heard of, the parents might actually face prosecution as a result. And they absolutely should. We'll get to them later in the show. But look, you like your gun and it's a hobby, you like to go hunting, it's your hobby, great. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you go through a background check, you can qualify to purchase a gun legally. But we need to have a system in place to make it exceedingly difficult for people who are gonna break the law from getting a gun. You shouldn't be able to access a gun from a private seller without a background check or from a gun show without a background check. There's too many loopholes.
Yeah, I know. Anna, I don't know if I'm more to the left, whatever I am. I would, to me, banning guns outside of hunting and having your guns stored somewhere else outside of your house I would do that. And yes, right, oh no, my guns! What do I care about your kids? My guns, right? No, Second Amendment. No, Second Amendment says that you must be part of a well-regulated militia. You're not in a militia, and it certainly ain't well-regulated. Acquire some reading skills, okay? Oh, but the Supreme Court also said that corporations are human beings. The Supreme Court also said that giving millions of dollars, even billions of dollars to a politician isn't a bribe. No, the Supreme Court is corrupt.
I mean, if they're gonna make the Supreme Court argument, then Supreme Court said that it's a woman's right to choose, right? That it's a privacy issue. So you can't cherry pick what you like and don't like about the Supreme Court. But nonetheless, let's move on to other warning signs. And those warning signs were all over social media, apparently. He had posted this image of himself holding the very gun that he used to gun down his schoolmates. So there it is.
I just want to say one quick thing about that.
Sure.
You see, if that was the UK, that would be a huge deal and the police would immediately investigate, right? Here in America, pictures of guns on social media, there's literally millions of them because we have a murder culture in America. So they're like, oh yeah, guns, yeah, guns. Oh, I got my guns. Who are you gonna kill? Who are you gonna murder? Oh, let's go murder everybody. Guns. That's America. No other country does that. Oh, well, banning it wouldn't help. Really? You know what percentage of homicides are done by guns in America? 73%. Now, you're probably not surprised by that. Killing somebody, 73%, that makes sense. Guns are much more efficient. You know how much what percentage of the homicides are done by guns in the UK? The UK bans guns. 4%. Banning guns totally works. It saves thousands. In America, it would save tens of thousands of lives every single year. But we say, nah, my hobby's more important than tens of thousands of lives, which actually at this point is not surprising because guys, the right wing now says, I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to take vaccines. I don't believe in the world's doctors, etc. So 777,000 people have died from coronavirus. And they're like, I don't care. I don't want to wear a stupid mask. So 750,000 people died. I don't care. Constantly, the Republican Party is a pro-death party. So every time people die because of their policies, their answer is, I don't care, man, freedom. Well, how about the kids who died in Michigan? How about their freedom? How about their parents? They don't have any freedom because they're dead. But you don't mind that because you have a freaking hobby.
Yeah, and just a quick side note on that. I mean, you watch the videos from the classrooms where students are barricading themselves, and it's just so abundantly clear that they've been trained to deal with this kind of situation. And that's the other part that's terrifying, right? Because we oftentimes discuss the loss of lives, those who are injured. We talk about the physical element to it, but the mental health toll is so severe. I was watching one of the students who lost his best friend, the football player, the varsity football player, and he was just absolutely devastated. I mean, it has a ripple effect on the entire community. But going back to what the teachers had noticed about the shooter here, a teacher in the classroom where he was a student saw and heard something, and she felt was disturbing, and they had a counseling session about it with school officials, and a phone call was left with the parents. And then there was a separate incident, a separate teacher who also voiced her concerns. On Tuesday, hours before the shooting, a different teacher in a different classroom saw some behavior that they felt was concerning, and they brought the child down to an office, had a meeting with school officials, called in the parents, and ultimately it was determined that he could go back into class. And so the sheriff is now saying that they're investigating why the educators decided that it was okay for him to go back to class, because as we know, he later opened fire. And we know more details about what he did on that day because of the he showed up to court and pled not guilty. Prosecutors said video from school surveillance cameras showed the suspect with a backpack, then a minute later exiting a bathroom without the backpack and with a gun in hand. The shooter began firing outside the bathroom, prosecutor Mark Keast said. After students started running away, he proceeded down the hallway at a methodical pace and shot inside classrooms and at students who hadn't escaped. That continued another 4 or 5 minutes until he went to another bathroom. Video from the school shows the assailant fired at the victims at close range, often aiming at the head or chest. And again, we still don't know what his motive was. But this is what we know so far based on what they said in court.
So a couple of you made the same comment. Jason Ray did in YouTube Super Chat, and then one of our members with the handle Ice Cream and Cake wrote in, you know who else talked about and made videos saying he wanted to shoot people and then did? Kyle Rittenhouse. And so he became a right-wing hero. The parents of this murderer are right-wingers, MAGA through and through. We'll get to them in a minute. So I don't know why they sent him back to school after, I don't know to the degree to which the school had information that he loved guns and talked about killing his classmates. But in America, again, because of the right wing, I know if you live anywhere else, you cannot believe it, but it's absolutely true. In America, that's like normal. Oh yeah, hey man, parents got rights, man. And then you give their 15-year-old son who's obviously mentally unbalanced a gun. And then, so what? He shot and killed your kids. So what? I got freedom, man. So, look, the Republicans pretend they care about kids. QAnon has those conspiracies. The Democrats are killing the kids and drinking their blood, right? And then they say, no, we're pro-life, man. Democrats killed the zygotes and stuff. And then they go one day they were going to be people, and we care so much about the kids. And then you say, well, kids are being murdered and massacred nonstop at the schools. We don't care about that. No, guns and freedom. I don't care about the kids getting killed. Who cares?
Well, I mean, the one lesson that I think everyone has learned at this point is that material goods and private property always takes priority over human lives. Always.
Yeah,
Always.
So since a gun is private property, I guess it's worth way more than your kids. Guys, it's not theoretical. You think it's not going to happen to you? There's literally a mass shooting every single day in America. That's 4 people being shot. Every single day. That's larger than the shootout at the OK Corral. And it happens every single day. You think it's not going to happen to you or your kids? It is. And then somebody's going to get in your grill and they're going to yell, freedom! I got a hobby! About 40,000 people die every year from guns in America. We break every record No one's even close to us in number of gun deaths because no one's close to us in the number of guns owned. And when you point out that it's leading to 40,000 deaths, you go, yeah, I got a hobby. Okay, well, I got a hobby. It's fantasy football. I love it. I would never, ever want to give it up. If they said to me, 40,000 people a year are going to die because you play fantasy football, I'd give it up instantly. Who wouldn't? What kind of a monster wouldn't? You go, yeah, I know, but I really want to draft, Cam Akers when he comes back next year. Oh, I'm going to get Tom Brady in the 5th round. So let 40,000 people die. Let 40,000 people die. I would never do that because I'm not a monster. But the right wing goes, yeah, I don't care. Who cares, man? It's your kids, not my kids.
All right, I want to reset to talk a little bit about the kind of images that are being used in covering this story. And there was one particular example that stood out and was infuriating. So let's talk about that. So the suspect who opened fire at Oxford High School, killing 4 students, has been identified, and his mugshot is available. That has been released. He's being tried as an adult, even though he's 15 years old, which means that a lot of his identity can be released to the public. And I noticed that some publications, like, to be fair, it's Baller Alert, decided to go with this photo of the shooter. So let's take a quick look at that. So that is the 15-year-old suspect, Ethan Crumbley. That is an old photo. Looks like he's praying. He looks like a sweet, innocent child. This kind of sweet, innocent child that likes to shoot his classmates at close range in either the chest or the head. How about go ahead and use his mugshot, because that's a little more accurate and a little more descriptive of who this person is. I don't know what people are thinking. Like, what goes through your head when you decide to use that sweet, innocent looking photo of someone who just gunned down 4 of his classmates or schoolmates?
They're probably right wingers who are pro-gun rights. So they're like,
I know nothing about Baller Alert. I just think
whoever put that picture up, okay, I don't know about the publication either, okay? But they probably think like, oh yeah, guns are awesome. Oh, he murdered your kids? Who cares? He was praying though. To be fair, he was praying earlier. Seems like such a sweet gun owner. Oh, he murdered your kids. On the other hand, I like guns and I like fake prayers. And by the way, after he murders your kids, I'll give you thoughts and prayers. No thanks, keep it. Look, to be fair, we don't know the exact details of who put that up and why they put it up. So it's possible they made a mistake. It's possible they just grabbed a photo from online. Laziness is also totally possible. But as we told you earlier in the show, and many of our members wrote in, well, Kyle Rittenhouse made a video about how he wanted to use his guns to kill people, and then he went and killed people, and then he became a right-wing hero. So countdown to this guy becoming a right-wing hero. This 15-year-old kid. Oh, and the parents are totally MAGA. They'll definitely be considered heroes soon. And by the way, the parents should be arrested. When they go to get arrested, if they do, then the right wing will definitely make them heroes. Oh, just because your kid, you gave your 15-year-old a kid and had him murder people. Oh, now you can't do that? Oh, man, liberals hate freedom.
Well, let's take a break before we get to his parents. His mother had written an open letter to Trump. We have details of that open letter and more when we return.
You know, old school's pitched to me from Jank. It'll just be me, you, Jesus, Ben, and maybe Michael. And we're like, okay, cool. I can do that every week. As you can see, me, Jesus, Ben.
When you make the order, it says, don't exceed $20.01. So I'll just order literally anything to get it as close to that as I possibly can.
I'm sorry that I ordered $45 worth of food and got an email saying, sir, would you like to rethink that? And I go, what are you talking about?
I was in hell. I was just like, oh my God, the theater's empty, nobody's here. Everyone on screen keeps fucking cursing. Why did I let this happen? And the whole thing looks like it was shot through a glass of milk. My mom's gonna be so mad.
If you're looking for a heart attack, the short way, baby.
Wrong, I did put mayonnaise on it. I'm the most in shape, overweight person you'll find.
That's right.
He was like, why didn't you answer my call? I called you 39 times.
Yuck. But what makes you stop right before 40? What makes you say, nah, man, I
I ain't doing that no more. I'm cool.
And I called you back on the air. And I was like, okay, Kevin Smith, big shot. What the you said you'd come on and you didn't come on.
I'm sure I took that very well.
Yeah, you did. You called me back the next day and said, I thought it was 7 a.m. There's now deep fake porn. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
Heard of it? I just had some in the car.
I'll tell you who I'm not f***ing, Ben Mankiewicz. Have you guys ever felt that?
Not ever.
And now it's just the three of us.
This is the intimate hour.
By the way, the last half hour of this, we're not even rolling.
Fair enough.
Kingsley.
See, I watch movies.
I'm done with both of you.
Once Greg starts laughing, I can't stop. And I was just gonna ask you about getting high.
Snoogans, Snoochie Boochies.
And members, of course, you can get the whole damn thing. TYT.com, join and free trial. I'm old school with the old folks.
Good
John,
man.
come back.
Field goal here. It's time to switch to beer.
Oh, God.
Do your best.
He's a little like. Let's go!
Oh. No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh! Wow.
This is the weirdest game.
I'm Brett. I would like to refer to this segment as the Do I Still Have This Talent show. So I want to see if I can play harmonica without my hands. I don't know why I have that. Nothing's gonna be more impressive than that. I can also spin a basketball on my finger. While drinking. I'm gonna spin a basketball on my finger while drinking apple juice. You can do this, dude. It's also flat. I don't know if that helps or hurts. And it seems to be somewhat wobbly. Ta-da! Nope, I don't know how to do this one. This one's a fail. Nope. Oh God, I'm so mad.
All right, back on TYT, Jake and Anna with you guys. All right, Anna's got more news.
Yep. All right, well, Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald is considering prosecuting the parents of the individual who opened fire, killing 4 of his classmates at Oakland High School. Now, the charges against the Crumbly's parents stem from their ownership of a firearm, which McDonald said comes with legal responsibilities. Imagine that, like securing the gun properly and ensuring ammunition is kept separate. So there are, luckily, in the state of Michigan, regulations pertaining to the ownership of a firearm. So you have the right to own a firearm, but if you do, you obviously need to keep it safe so your children don't have access to it and either accidentally or intentionally shoot someone. And I say accidentally because there have been countless stories of children who come across a gun in the household, play with it thinking it's a toy, and then accidentally shoot themselves. And it's tragic every single time it happens. It happens all the time in this country. And honestly, I'm sure that there might be other examples from the past. But as far as I know, this is the first time after a school shooting where the parents might be held liable. And that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they should definitely be held responsible. And if you're saying, well, Cenk, you don't know the facts. No, I do know the facts. The dad bought a gun. And a couple of days later, his 15-year-old son took it and murdered 4 other kids and shot up the entire school. 7 are wounded. And so I don't care if he did it on purpose or if it was negligence. Oh, I left it on the couch. Who would have thought my son would take it and murder people with it? I would have thought that. I would have thought it. that you should lock it up. If you don't lock it up and you're just negligent, accessory to murder. Accessory to murder, definitely. If you own a gun and you're not locking it up and somebody comes and takes it and shoots people with it, you are responsible and you should go to jail. Probably for the rest of your life.
By the way, remember the McMichaels, the individuals who just got found guilty of murder in the murdering Ahmaud Arbery. They had left their truck unlocked, and there was a gun in a holster in the truck. Someone went into the truck and took the gun. I mean, there should be charges for that as well. Guns are not toys, okay? Like, can we at least be a little bit responsible when we're dealing with something that has the potential, that has honestly the only real utility to kill, whether we're talking about animals or people. But anyway, let me give you more details about the parents here. So the Crumbleys joined in on the court date where Ethan, their son, pled guilty, not guilty to the charges. So here are the Crumbleys. We have a screenshot of them during the court proceeding. Also, in November of 2016, Jennifer Crumbley, the mother, posted her open letter to Trump on her blog, The Daily Beast reported. Now, her husband, James Crumbley, isn't super political, but he did share that blog, and he wrote above a link to his wife's open letter on Facebook. My wife can be spot on sometimes. So we know that he, in the very least, agrees with her political views. Now, her political views are relevant to the story because she does talk about firearms in her open letter to Trump. She says, as a female and a realtor, thank you for allowing my right to bear arms, allowing me to be protected if I show a home to someone with bad intentions. Thank you for respecting that amendment. And I just think that that perspective is fascinating. I'm curious if she's reflecting on that even a little bit today, because while she sees the gun as an incredibly important, tool to protect her life in case she ever is dealing with a threat, she wasn't responsible enough, her husband wasn't responsible enough to keep it in a safe place so the community could be protected from their murderer son.
Yeah, so she has a whole bunch of things kissing Donald Trump's ass all over online, and including saying, do I mind if you grab people by the women by the genitals?
I have that, you want me to read it to you?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Let's go to graphic 5 here. Mr. Trump, I actually love that you are a bad public speaker because that showed sincerity and humility. You changed your mind and you said, so what? You made the famous grab them by the P word comment. Did it offend me? No. I say things all the time that people take the wrong way. Do I mean them? Not always.
Oh, that's nice.
She also says, do I agree that you should have shown your tax returns? No, I don't care what you do or maybe don't pay, whether you do or what you do or don't pay taxes. I think those are personal, and if the government can't lock someone up over $10,000 of unpaid taxes and you slipped on by, then that shows the corruption.
Of course, none of that makes any sense.
Okay.
Right, like, oh, okay, so you didn't pay your taxes and some other guy went to jail for not paying his taxes, but only $10,000 and you didn't pay $100 million. You snuck by. That doesn't show that you're guilty. It shows that everybody else is guilty.
Okay.
Or whatever. I don't care. Look, so they're MAGA, and so I don't agree with them. That doesn't have any bearing on whether they should be prosecuted, obviously, right? But their point of view on firearms is super relevant because it led to 4 kids being killed. And everybody else being shot, 7 shot, and the rest of the school terrorized. So that is directly relevant to whether you broke the law or not. So it's obvious that they're super flippant about guns. The dad bought the gun a couple of days before the kid used it. So the very first, the police should pull them in instantly. If they haven't already been questioned, it's a travesty. Did you allow your kid to use a gun? Knowing how much you think it's awesome to use guns, did you encourage your 15-year-old murdering son to use the gun? That's a super fair question because your son got the weapon and murdered other people's kids. Those kids are dead. So we'd like to ask you, were you just a negligent moron, in which case we will definitely prosecute you for leaving the gun around, going, who cares, leave it on the couch, so what? Oh, we got a 15-year-old in the house. He seems mentally unstable, talking about violence all the time. So what? Let him have it. Maybe he'll murder other people's kids. So what? Then you should be prosecuted. But if you encourage him to get the gun, you gave him the gun, you should go away for life. Those other kids aren't coming back. If I was a family member of those other kids, what about their freedom? What about their freedom? Do other parents have any rights? Do any of us, the rest of us, have a right to live?
No, I mean, we've seen time and time again that the freedoms, the opinions of anyone who isn't right-wing in this country don't matter. So if you have a school or a student going to a public school and right-wingers have targeted that school because they don't want students to learn American history, they're gonna get their way because they harass and terrorize school boards until they get exactly what they want. So who cares if you actually give a damn about your child getting a decent education? They're gonna deteriorate everything that's left in this country that could actually benefit you and your family. I mean, again, like, who made them the arbiters of what freedom is? Freedom to them is being able to do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want, however they want. But our freedoms don't matter at all. A woman's freedom to make decisions about her own body doesn't matter. They don't like it. They don't like it. So they have this long-term project that's now coming to fruition with rolling back reproductive rights with this super conservative Supreme Court. Okay?
Yeah. Anna, you're making a great point. You know, all those parents who went and yelled at the school boards over critical race theory that isn't being taught, and oh, you're trying to protect our kids' lives with the masks and stuff like that. And they were like furious about it. Are they all, and they all claim to be pro-life. Are you all gonna go yell at the school board members now all across the country for the violence, for the deaths? No, you're cool with that, right? Oh, the kids got murdered? No big deal, no big deal. Oh, a thing you're not teaching, I'm really angry about it. You're trying to protect my kids, I'm really angry. Oh, you let him die? Who cares? Who cares? No, we're not worried about that. We're the pro-life party, but we don't mind kids getting murdered in schools because I got a hobby. I got a hobby, and I'm part of a well-regulated militia. You don't know it, it doesn't exist, but hey, you know what? Guns, 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 guns. I'm pro-life. My ass, you're pro-life. 40,000 people a year die because of guns in this country. It does not happen in other countries. The number is astronomically lower because they don't allow everybody to have a gun and go around shooting up schools. We have right to live. We have a right to freedom. We have the same rights as the right wing, and they do not have a right to kill us. They do not have that right. It is the very first law in every religion and in every society. You're not allowed to kill other people. But now the right wing are legitimately having a debate in this country. Well, if I have a contagious disease, can I smear it all over you? So what if you die? I don't care about your life. Aren't I allowed to kill you? Okay, oh, I got guns, and oh, I gotta let my 15-year-old grab it and shoot your kids. So what? So what? I got freedom. They're literally having a debate about whether they should have the freedom to kill us. That's insanity, insanity. But it's never gonna get fixed. You know who's as angry about this within the Democratic Party? No one.
No one.
No one, zero. I haven't heard a single person. The shooting happened yesterday.
No, 2 days ago.
Sorry, 2 days ago. It happened 2 days ago. Where are they? I'm sure that Biden sent a strongly worded letter to someone, to the ether. Okay.
I don't even think he did that.
I don't even think he's probably a coward who's sitting in the bunker going, oh no, don't criticize the right wing, no. What if I say something about guns and it costs me votes?
No, he's gonna change the country for the better through the art of persuasion.
How's that going for you, Joe? How's that working out for you? Have you persuaded the right wing yet? Have you? Come on. Look, we're all doomed because the Republicans are monsters and the Democrats are cowards. I'm talking about the politicians. And given that, it's a recipe for disaster, and we live that disaster every single day in America.
The next story is kind of a positive one, so I kind of want to take a break and just decompress a little bit. When we come back, we're gonna give credit, or at least I'm gonna give credit to someone I don't typically give credit to, Jen Psaki, because I think she handled a question from Peter Doocy really, really well. We'll tell you what it is when we come back.
So a lot of progressive office holders are doing something fun. I like fun. They're doing the last 2 years in 2 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try it here. First, I want to let you guys know about the years before that. Hey, remember, we started the Just Democrats here on the Young Turks. It was officially launched on our air, basically by you guys. And then we featured AOC, we featured Cori Bush, and Ro Khanna became the first ever Just Democrat incumbent, all on the Young Turks. Now, the last 2 years have been a spectacular follow-up to that. So let's put the 2 minutes on the clock and do this. Young Turks got to start back in 2002, and I think we've been an important part of the progressive movement ever since. What we mainly do is amplify the progressive voice and candidates out there, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Right now, we're currently #1 most engaged news politics network online, beating CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, all of them. We're #1 in total minutes watched. That means not only the number of people watching, but how long they watch. We just crossed 20 million followers and 500 million monthly views. Now, why? That's because actually the country's progressive. It's 2/3 progressive. And you guys have allowed us to be your voice, and we're incredibly thankful for that. So what did we do with that voice? Well, let's look at 2019. We went all over the country talking to you guys and the candidates. So we were in Miami, we were in Detroit, we were in Houston, and we were in Iowa. In fact, we were all over Iowa. You guys were all over Iowa, and all of the candidates saw you guys. We had wonderful people speaking, like the one and only Nina Turner at our rallies. Bernie Sanders stopped by, Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. We interviewed almost everyone on the campaign trail, with the exception of Biden and Buttigieg. And we held them accountable. We even did a progressive economic pledge, and so many wonderful people signed on to that. Bernie Sanders, Warren, Marianne Williamson, AOC, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and so many others. Now, on top of all that, we started a show called The Conversation, where we featured so many progressive thinkers, writers, and candidates. And one of the candidates we featured in 2019 was Jamal Bowman. Here comes Jamal Bowman. Then we had an amazing 2020. We hired a climate reporter. Damage Report passed 500,000 subscribers. Young Turks passed 5 million subscribers. We're getting the message out to more and more people. Bernie Sanders comes on in the heat of the primary. He comes on after the election to say what we're going to do for the future. And then Marie Newman wins. Jamal Bowman wins. Cori Bush wins. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any better, here comes Nina Turner. Hello, somebody. And she's running for Congress, and she comes on the Young Turks first. On election week, we had nearly 2 million hours of viewing. We're #1 destination for progressives. You made all that happen. This is amazing, and thank you for those 2 years. What, I went past 2 minutes? Of course!
Viewers had asked for an interview with the TYT lizard. Mr. Lizard. Oh, you changed colors today. Nice. I don't even know how you feel about us. Do you even like us?
Well, you guys made me this awesome house, so I'm kind of in your debt. I was found outside on the street, and you gave me a home. Granted, it was a really crappy home for a while, but then through the power of fundraising, I became a person who has a multi-level Trump-style mansion.
You do. By the way, you never looked better, man. Normally, you're just green or just brown, but today you're in mid-lizard, right?
I'm not very smart. I'm a lizard, so I don't know how the science works. I guess this is just my mood. It's not every day that thresholds like this are broken. I'm just so excited. I can't contain my pigmentation.
And now you're showing it off.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never seen the lizard like this before. All right, back on TYT, Cenk, Anna, and Cindy Martin. Cindy just joined on YouTube. There's a bright green button if you're watching with a lot of arrows pointing down to the join button on YouTube.
I don't see it.
Okay, yeah, I think it's on there. So that is where the button is, and that does mean you are bringing real reporting, real news, and real change to this country. Because we cannot do this alone. We all do it together. Every member is part of the Young Turks as we bring you this news. So thank you guys. All right, Anna.
I don't often give White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki a lot of credit. In fact, I feel like the liberal press is too in love with her. It drives me a little bit crazy. However, she did handle a question from conservative reporter Peter Doocy really well. And it had to do with the number of COVID deaths under the Biden administration versus the Trump administration. This is the latest talking point from the right wing, and I think she handled it pretty well. So let's watch.
In 2020, when roughly 220,000 Americans had already died of COVID, Joe Biden said about Trump, anyone who is responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America. Is that still the standard now that more Americans have died under President Biden than President Trump?
Well, I think the fundamental question here is, what are you doing to save lives and protect people? And the former president was suggesting people inject bleach.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs.
He apparently, reportedly, didn't even share with people he was going to interact with that he had tested positive for COVID himself.
We learn also from what The Guardian is reporting about Mark Meadows' book that Trump was actually symptomatic, right? Throughout this whole process, as early as September 26, he was a little tired. They suspected he had a little cold. And this went on for days, obviously, until we found out many days later that he was positive.
He continued to provide a forum for misinformation, which probably led to people not taking steps forward to protect themselves, to wear masks, to eventually get vaccinated.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting.
This president has made the vaccine widely available. He's relied on the advice of his health and medical experts, and he is trying to be a part of solving this crisis, getting the pandemic under control. And I think there's a pretty stark difference between their approaches.
And there is a stark difference between their approaches. And we should talk about COVID deaths under Trump versus under Biden, because the talking point isn't accurate. Wow, what a shocker. Let me just quickly give you the numbers, Cenk. Thus far, according to data from the CDC, Biden has presided over about 353,000 deaths in little over 10 months, compared to about 425,000 deaths for Trump in his final 10 plus months. So there have still been fewer deaths under Biden than under Trump in a similar time period. But you gotta actually have a nuanced argument. Like, look at the numbers and why there are still so many deaths happening, where are the deaths happening, and wow, what a shocker. If you take a look at the numbers, blue states have far less deaths because people who identify as Democrats are far more likely to get vaccinated, and if they might have a breakthrough infection, they're not gonna get hospitalized or die from it. It's very unlikely that that happens. But you look at the numbers, and most of the deaths are happening among unvaccinated individuals in red states, people who are in a conservative filter bubble, a conservative media bubble. And I'll give you more details into that in just a moment, but Cenk, why don't you jump in?
So I agree with you, she does deserve credit. It's the first time I've seen anyone in Democratic leadership even tweak Republicans. So congratulations, okay?
Do more of that.
Yeah, you're not gonna be surprised when I tell you I would have gone much further. I would have said, well, most of the overwhelming majority of the unvaccinated are the right wing. And Peter, they watch your channel and you misinform them on a daily basis, and hundreds of thousands have died because of the misinformation largely coming out of your channel. So don't ask me how we're doing when we're trying to get people to take the vaccine and you're trying super hard to make sure they don't take the vaccine. And honestly, you're killing your own voters. So I would ask you and the CEO of Fox News, and most especially the owner of Fox News, how you feel about killing your own viewers, okay? But of course, Democrats, oh my God, they would never do. This is as far as they'll ever go, but it is good. It's way better than any other Democrat. I can't believe, I mean, it's so, the exception proves the rule. Like, since the Biden White House never, ever, ever, ever fights back against Republicans. The one time they do a tweak, we're like, yes, yes,
Yep,
right?
it's true. It's so true.
Like, guys, look, we inserted the clips of Trump saying what he did in between Psaki's comments. Why didn't the Democrats run that 24/7 as an ad?
Totally.
So, like, there's no, you can debate whether Republican voters, what their intelligence is, or if they're really stuck in a bubble, as Anna says, and I think they are, right? But you cannot debate Trump's intelligence. You saw it. We all saw it with our own eyes.
No, but Cenk, they can insert the UV light either through the skin or by some other means. Like by what? Like through your butthole? Like what are you talking about?
He's like, you could take the light. What did he say? The light into the body. You could put the light into the body. Okay, so look, if you're a dentist, well, you're in the medical field, you should know too. Let's pick another. You're an architect, okay? You're a smart guy, etc. But this is not your field, right? So you don't know that injecting bleach into your lungs is a bad idea. I'd be a little surprised by that, but I'm gonna let it go because it's not my job to rule your life, right? But when the president of the United States, in the middle of the worst pandemic of our lives, does not realize that you should not inject disinfectant into your body, he is incredibly stupid. Like one of the dumbest people I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I will allow it. That is correct.
Yes.
That is 100% correct.
And does everybody acknowledge, and that's the thing that why I ripped my hair out. If everyone in the country said, oh no, obviously Trump's a moron. We all saw it with our own eyes. The disinfectant and the UV rays and all that stuff going into the body. And he talked about the lungs. He said the lungs, injecting the disinfectant into your lungs. Yes, obviously he's a moron, but I like him anyway. Okay, well that's a different conversation.
No, but that is the case. Like, I think that there is something lost in translation because to us, hearing the leader of the country say incredibly dumb and dangerous things is not appealing, not in favor of that. Like I would like a leader who knows what he's doing. I want to feel safe being led by someone, as president of the United States. However, there is a portion of the country that actually gets super turned off by, us calling him dumb or mocking his intelligence because they identify with him.
Yeah,
right?
no, I get that. I get that.
And so, but like that's where it's coming from.
No, but Anna, look, if it was that and that alone, I say, hey, look, it is what it is, and it's a democracy, by the way. Okay, if you like that, hey, maybe we should, maybe we should inject bleach, or hey, I like leaders who are dumb. We will get lost. It'll be an adventure. It'll be great. Like a bunch of people will die, but look, it'll be more fun and more adventurous, right? Okay, fine. That's
definitely not fun or adventurous.
Okay. No, not for me, but apparently for the right wing, they love it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, what is not fine is Anna. They do not agree to that. They think Trump's a genius. And part of the reason why they think that, and you think the mainstream media is tough on Trump, I think they barely laid a glove on him. So the mainstream media nonstop talks about Trump's strategy. And he's doing this as a distraction and his strategy for this. And how is he, contemplating the attack on 24 and it's a strategy. What are you guys talking about? The guy's a blithering idiot. But they won't say it because, oh, that's offensive. Well, if the news is offensive, then go be a plumber or be an architect. It's a good job, but don't do news. The news is the news, whether you find it offensive or not. He did say those things. He is a moron. Anyone who doesn't say he's a moron is not in the news business. Oh, that's an opinion. Really? Is it? You think it's debatable? You think it's debatable. If you think it's just an opinion, you're saying it's debatable whether we should inject bleach into our lungs to cure coronavirus.
I just can't get over the UV light and how the UV light would be applied. Like that's my I feel like that was really underplayed by the press. We should have focused on that more. Anyway, let's get back to the substance of the argument that we're hearing from the right in regard to COVID deaths. First of all, let me just note, hundreds of thousands of COVID deaths under any president is awful. And I'm not giving Biden like a round of applause. He has handled COVID better than Donald Trump. However, he's so terrified of doing anything that requires real leadership because it would offend the right wing. And to be sure, his mild vaccine mandates, which have all sorts of loopholes for private businesses, is now being challenged in the courts, right? So yes, the Republicans fight tooth and nail to ensure that as many Americans die from this virus as humanly possible. Great. But nonetheless, let me go to what the real numbers are, because if you look at the number of COVID deaths state by state, you see a difference between blue states and red states. So let's go to, okay, the vaccine. Okay, in October, 25 out of every 100,000 residents of heavily Trump counties died from COVID, more than 3 times higher than the rate in heavily Biden counties, meaning, counties that voted for Biden. So in those blue counties, it's 7.8 per 100,000 deaths. October was the 5th consecutive month that the percentage gap between the death rates in Trump counties and Biden counties widened. So we're still seeing, not only are we still seeing more deaths in red states and red counties, that gap between blue counties and red counties, it continues to widen, meaning less Democratic voters are dying from COVID because they're getting vaccinated, and more Republican voters are dying because they refuse to get vaccinated. The vaccines are remarkably effective at preventing severe COVID, at almost 40% of Republicans or Republican adults remaining unvaccinated, compared with about just 10% of Democratic adults.
Look, they ruin it for everybody else in 1,000 different ways. You've got the immunocompromised, and we're all still having to wear masks, and the variants keep popping up because of the unvaccinated. But overall, I'm exhausted from trying to save your lives. And so you're dying at 3 times the rate that we are. Here we are ripping our hair out trying to save Republican lives. And they're like, oh yeah, hashtag freedom. I got the right to die. All right, okay, what am I gonna do? Go for it. So now to Biden, Anna, I think Biden has fallen flat on 1,000 things. If you watch A Minute of the Young Turks, you know how harsh I am on Joe Biden. And I will be in this context too in a second. But in terms of what he's doing to fight it, he is 100 times, 1,000 times better than Trump.
Yeah,
he's trying, he's desperately trying to get people to take the vaccine to save their lives. Whereas Trump was like, oh, I don't care, man. Don't wear a stupid mask. Oh, who cares? Who cares?
Trump was all about the vaccine when he thought that it would help him politically. But once he realized that the vaccines wouldn't be developed in time for him to use it as a campaigning tool, then all of a sudden he doesn't care about the vaccine at all. Remember,
100%.
He wouldn't shut up about, what was it, Operation
Warp Speed.
Warp Speed, exactly. He wouldn't shut up about it, right?
And in fact, he tried that in a speech in Alabama after the election, right? That happened fairly recently. That's a point Anna's making. And when the crowd booed, he was like, oh, ditch it. He's like, oh, I meant freedom. Yeah, freedom not to do the vaccine.
Operation Freedom.
Okay, so, but Biden is terrible on getting the vaccine to the rest of the world. He says, oh yeah, I lifted the waiver. No, he did. He didn't do a single thing after that. And he could use just a smidge of his power to make sure that it gets to the rest of the world, because we're not even using it. Our right wingers won't take it. They won't take it, so give it to the rest of the world. You know how many people have died since our greedy drug companies have said that they're prioritizing their profits over people's lives? Across the world, because we will not share the vaccine, over 4 million people have died from COVID. Since we could have shared the vaccine, but chose not to.
Right.
That's on Biden. That's on Biden.
And this is about lifting the patent to allow other countries to manufacture the vaccine themselves. And Biden just said, yeah, I will allow it. But it takes more than that. It takes conversations with other world leaders who tend to be more favorable toward the drug companies than to their own citizens.
Yeah, no, he has to apply pressure, and he has chosen on purpose not to do that. And there's reporting that in internal conversations, he's basically winking and nodding to the other countries. Hey, listen, I just said we'd lift a waiver here as a PR move, okay? And the mainstream media in this country works for me. So they'll tell everybody I lifted the waiver and give me credit for saving people's lives, but then make sure that we're all supporting the drug companies and we don't actually lift a waiver. And that's what happened, and 4 million people died, okay? And a lot more are gonna die because our politicians are bought off by drug companies. And apparently they are in Norway and even other countries as well, because they're all, Europe on this issue, Europe normally is way better than us on many policies. On this, they're awful. They're despicable what they've done to protect drug companies. Last thing, and it's important and we shouldn't gloss over it. Trump clearly knew at a bare minimum that he might have been COVID positive because he tested COVID positive. He also tested COVID negative. But guys, if you get 2 tests, one says positive and the other one negative.
You don't get to pick the one you like the most.
And,
right?
and you all know that you're taking a risk. Like, here's how you know, right? If you tested positive and negative, and you didn't even bother doing a 3rd test, would you go hug your grandparents if they were unvaccinated? I hope to God you wouldn't, right? Would you breathe all over them? Would you share the same food? I hope to God you wouldn't, right? And Trump, knowing that he might have coronavirus, which it turns out he did, right? Went to that debate with Joe Biden in an enclosed room. And this is important, this is important. He refused to get tested. They were supposed to get tested, and he said, I showed up late, so I don't want to get tested.
He met with Gold Star families.
Oh, yeah, I know, for right-wingers, I guarantee you they think, that's smart, man. Because then if he goes to the debate, then Biden gets COVID because Trump gets COVID and then Biden dies. Because that's the right way in this country. They would have loved it if he murdered his presidential opponent. I'm not joking. If Trump had given COVID to Biden and Biden had died, I guarantee you the majority of Republicans would have celebrated. I guarantee it. They've become a party of death here. It's a death cult. Okay, but do you guys care about anything you've ever said in your lives? Support the troops. He went, and in that meeting with the Gold Star families, he actually literally hugged them and kissed them, knowing he might be COVID positive. Because it might have given him a little bit bad PR if people found out he was COVID positive. And so that was a super spreader event. The Rose Garden event for Amy Coney Barrett turned out to be a super spreader event. And people didn't know. They're like, wait, everybody was tested. Well, how could they have, so many people at that Rose Garden event gotten COVID? Well, guess the one person who refused to get tested before the event and who knew he might have COVID? Donald Trump. And he gave it to his own Republican colleagues and allies. On the other hand, he tried to murder his own vice president. They said, hang Mike Pence, and he encouraged them, and he never apologized for it. The guy is a fascist. He's just, and the reason I get so animated about it is, if we all agreed that he's a monster, but you like him anyway. We all agreed he's a moron, but you like him anyway, I could live with it. But when people deny obvious reality, if they said about your business partner or your best friend, people tried to murder him and hang him, and it was because of something you said, wouldn't you apologize to the guy? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I never meant it. Oh, I can't believe they tried to kill you. Trump's like, no, you shouldn't have certified the elections.
It's amazing.
He's a monster through and through, and if you like him, what does that say about you?
Well, later he'll be bragging about crowd sizes from January 6th. I'm not even kidding. So you do not want to miss that. It's an incredible story in the second hour today. And I'm going to squeeze in one more story. I think we can do it quick before we end the first hour. And it's about the spending bill. So, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell shockingly pushed back against the more extreme elements in his party when it comes to the spending bill. Now, the House has just passed a stopgap spending bill, which would fund the government and avoid a government shutdown. I'll give you some more details about that in just a moment. But before I do, why don't we hear what Mitch McConnell had to say about what some members of his own party are urging him to do?
I don't think shutting down the government over this issue is going to get an outcome. It would only create chaos and uncertainty. So I don't think that's the best vehicle to get this job done. I think the courts are likely to get it done.
Just to put a fine point, you're saying you can avert a shutdown or not, sir?
Yeah, we're not going to shut the government down. That makes no sense for anyone. Almost no one on either side thinks that's a good idea.
Now, why would anyone think it's a good idea to shut the government down? Well, the potential of a government shutdown is what some Republican senators like Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Roger Marshall are using as leverage in order to do away with Biden's vaccine mandate. A pair of Republican senators, more than a pair, by the way, Mike Lee of Utah and Roger Marshall of Kansas, add Ted Cruz to the mix, are threatening to delay the government spending bill if funding to enforce vaccine mandates is included in the bill.
Okay, so let's just acknowledge that what Mitch McConnell said is not at all true. He said nobody wants to shut the government down. Well, then why are we talking about it? Then it would pass easily and we wouldn't shut the government down. Why are you on TV talking about it? Oh, right, because your party actually does want to shut it down. So those are facts, there's no question about it. But he comes on TV, lies. Of course, nobody calls him out on his lie. But at the same time, McConnell is apparently against shutting down the government. You just heard him say it, right? And you might be wondering why. Isn't he as right-wing as Ted Cruz, et cetera? Well, in a sense, yes. But who does Mitch McConnell work for? You think he works for the people of Kentucky? Welcome to America. It's nice to have you here. No, he works for his donors. Those are the people who write checks for him, millions and millions of dollars, and he serves them. Every real American knows that. Even if you're a Republican, diehard Republican. If you're a diehard McConnell fan, is there a single one of you out there that's like that? Anyway, you know that McConnell works for the people who've written literally hundreds of millions of dollars in checks to McConnell and the Republican Party. He's collected them. So those donors are like, you're gonna shut the government down and hurt the stock market? No. I don't care what Trump is saying. I don't care what anybody's saying. I don't care what Ted Cruz is saying. Yeah. Use it as leverage to do whatever barbaric thing to get us more tax cuts, et cetera. But this vaccine thing, no, that doesn't even help us. Corporations want vaccine mandates, right? So no, Mitch, put that stuff away and go out there and tell everybody nobody's shutting the government down. And that's why you're seeing what you're seeing.
And the reason why corporations want vaccine mandates is not because they're actually concerned about the safety and well-being of their employees. They're worried about being held liable if their employees get sick or die from COVID. The one thing that I will give Democratic lawmakers credit for is they did not allow any type of provision in COVID relief bills that would clear corporations of liability if their employees get sick with COVID.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly important because then it pressures companies to be in favor of vaccine mandates.
Yeah, Anna's 100% right about the lawsuits. They're very concerned about that, but they also care about productivity. And if their workers are sick or dead, they're not as productive. So they won't remember how obsessed they are with the labor shortage, and they want to drive everybody back to work and lower your wages again, right? And so there's two reasons why they're in favor of vaccine mandates, and that's why they're telling Mitch McConnell, get out there and make sure that you're fighting not to shut the government down because that would hurt our stock market. Plus, we love the vaccine mandates, and we love that we're not the ones doing it. The government is making us do it, right? So that's why they're huffing and puffing, and it's, in a sense, it's real because the Republicans are the ones that are saying, let's shut it down. But in another sense, it's all obviously a bluff, and they're not going to shut it down. They all work for multinational corporations.
One final thing that I'll note is, I mentioned earlier that the House has an agreement on a government funding bill, but they're really just kicking the can down the road because of the disagreements between the two parties. So House Appropriations Committee Chairwoman Rosa DeLauro has said that she announced today that the House Democrats have agreed with Republican negotiators to move forward with a continuing resolution that would keep the government funded only through February 18th. So if this passes in the Senate, don't worry, we're gonna come back to square one in February.
Yeah, guys, this is definitely also the Democrats' fault. We're the only show that it tells you exactly what the problems are with both parties, okay? So why is it the Democrats' fault? None of them want to shut down the government. The Republicans are the ones that want to shut it down. Well, it's Democrats' fault because they could just get rid of the filibuster and be done with this.
Yep.
But they're like, oh no, we want the Republican permission to pass any bill, and so we will not end the filibuster. This and the debt ceiling. My God, the debt ceiling was worse.
It is.
We breached the debt ceiling, and we're going to have a massive economic collapse. And by the way, you will not be able to get your Social Security check, your Medicare check. You won't get any of that. It will be a global economic meltdown, and the Republicans are playing with that danger. And the Democrats are like, yeah, I know, but on the other hand, the filibuster and the parliamentarian. She hasn't given us permission yet. And the filibuster was mainly meant to protect lynching laws. Like there was anti-lynching laws, and they didn't want that. They wanted the Republicans back then. And by the way, not just Republicans back then, there was Dixiecrats. There were Democrats who were also deeply racist back then. They all used the filibuster to make sure they can keep lynching black people. And that is the deep, wonderful Senate tradition of the filibuster. It was used almost exclusively for that. And 100% of the time to prevent civil rights. So Manchin says, I love that so much. I love the deeply racist history of the filibuster. It now allows me to protect my corporate donors.
Yep.
So me and Sinema are gonna block you getting rid of the filibuster. So we're gonna play chicken with the entire US economy and your jobs and your Social Security checks and all of your well-being because we would rather need to ask permission from the Republicans, because it's not really about the Republicans. They're asking permission of their donors.
My favorite thing is seeing tweets from the Democratic Party about the midterm elections and how we need to elect more Democrats.
Oh, shut up, Democrats.
Yeah.
Okay. You have no idea how exhausting you are, right? You guys, progressives are not sufficiently pro, idiot, weak, corrupt Democrats. It's your fault. Why isn't it your fault that you're corrupt in the first place? No, you didn't cheerlead for our corruption enough. And so, no, if you give us more corrupt Democrats, then we might pass things. Really? Are you gonna get rid of the filibuster if we do? No. We need 60 Democrats in the Senate. How the hell are you gonna get 60 Democrats in the Senate?
It's embarrassing. It really is. It's super embarrassing.
No. What we need is 52 senators, so we don't need Manchin and Sinema. Are you guys crazy? If they don't need Manchin and Sinema, guess what's gonna happen? 2 other Democrats are gonna pop up and say, oh, no, I love the filibuster too. I was just hiding behind Manchin's skirt. And so, surprise, here's Menendez, surprise, here's Coons. And they'll all come out and go, oh, no, I love the racist lynching history of the filibuster, and I want to keep it too. Corporations, are you happy? Give me more money, So it is the vile Republicans and the corrupt Democrats that have left us in this situation.
All right, I promise there are some fun stories in the second hour. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll get right to them.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you, or that you were
that it was that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it, though.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that's willing to cover this story from the very beginning.
You have the Young Turks and a bunch of other progressive forces saying this is the time to fight for our values.
And I think right now there are a lot of progressive voters, many leftists who feel like they don't have a home.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
What we've done is sustainable, slow, healthy growth. And I think that's the way news should be, where you don't rely on sensationalist stuff. You don't lean on whatever's trendy in the news at any given moment. You know, you just go with the truth.
You gave me a platform.
You've uplifted so many other progressive voices through this network, and you're constantly looking for people that you can amplify through the work we do, through the infrastructure that you built at TYT.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
We're super serious about the news. We also managed to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We're not TYT, you're TYT.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one.
Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
All right, back on TYT. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, but get a load of this. Billy Wigg, Rob Perot, Cesar Kastroff, Patrina Biondo, Reginald Grant.
Ross Perot is a member?
No, Rob Perot. It's spelled way different.
No one knows who Ross Perot is. Like,
yeah, by now that's probably true. Anyway, Rob, Billy, Cesar, Patrina, Reginald, you guys are awesome. Thank you for signing up. You're helping to bring real news to people and real change. We fight for change, and that's why we get animated and we're passionate. We appreciate you guys. If you're on YouTube, the join button's right below. If you're not, tyt.com/join. It's so easy. tyt.com/join. All right, Anna.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna take my time with this story because this is my favorite story in the rundown today. It's not even a story. I just want to clown on the person who wrote this. Okay, so imagine it's the end of the year. You've been busting your butt. You've been working real hard. You have delivered for the company you're working for. And you're about to have that year-end review. You're expecting a bonus. You're expecting a raise. But your boss tells you, you know what? I read this article written by an HR person in Inc. magazine, and she suggested that in lieu of a bonus, I pay for management classes for you. How about that? How good does that sound? Merry Christmas. That's literally something suggested. Literally something that was suggested in an article written in Inc. Okay? Inc. is the name of the publication. So let me give you a few excerpts because I love it. This is literally the worst advice anyone can give to an employer. And yes, this is a passive aggressive way of me letting my employer know that you better not try to pull this. I am not gonna stand for it. So let me give you the details. Year end, writes Suzanne Lucas, can come with holiday presents, parties, and year-end bonuses. It's also quite normal to do annual pay increases effective at the first of the new year. These things are all good, but it may impact what the Great Resignation looks like at your office.
Dun, dun, dun.
What does that even mean? How about pay your workers so they want to stay at your company? But that is not the take here. All right, Suzanne continues to write, if year-end bonuses and raises are the norms in your company, your employees may hold off accepting that new job until the money is in their pockets. Who wants to quit 3 weeks before bonuses hit the bank account? But what about all the work the employers or employees did throughout the year, which earns them that bonus? Like that's the point of the bonus, right? That's what the bonus is.
Yeah.
So her point is, make sure your employees have no money to kind of carry them through looking for a better job. Like make them so desperate that they don't have the means to go search for a better job. And so, yeah, don't give them a bonus, don't give them a pay raise. Instead, why don't you pay for some management classes? Can you imagine management? I would rather shoot myself.
No, I was thinking of giving you the gift of hosting classes.
I need to give you hosting classes, homeboy. Please.
Could you imagine how that review would go over? Okay, I don't know that I'd walk out alive. Okay, no, seriously, guys. I thought the op-ed or whatever it was, and by the way, Inc. magazine is INC as an incorporated, right? This is advice to theoretically CEOs, et cetera. And I'm the CEO here. Not a big deal. Actually, really not a big deal. Anyways, I didn't even understand really what she was saying. If someone's bonus is due at a certain time, you have to pay it. It's not negotiable. Like what you promised the bonus, you know, and obviously everybody's got different performance and different ways of calculating the bonuses. But you can't say, well, now I'm going to delay it because I'm worried you're going to resign. No, that's not the deal, and you don't get to play around with people's lives that way. So I thought the whole thing was ridiculous. I
mean, oh no, you know what? No, I'll I'll be okay with you not giving me a bonus and instead taking me to trainings to be part of the PMC. Like, it's insane. It's insane.
But I do want to say one thing, Anna. Like, some people don't mind management classes.
But that's work. You get that, right? That's work.
No, I know, but they're paying for the management classes. If you're saying, I'm not gonna give you your bonus and I'm not gonna give you a choice, I'm gonna make you take classes instead, yeah, then I'm share your frustration. But if you say, hey, if you want instead, I'll give you management classes, and they actually do want that.
You know what? I would love to see what percentage of employees would say, yeah, keep the bonus. Keep the bonus. I want to be part of a management, like, it's essentially a management meeting, really, right? Teaching you how to be.
Some people really do want management classes.
I get it, but that's like, that's work. That's not a treat. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know that they want management classes in lieu of their bonus.
Yeah, and by the way,
a different question.
Let me give you more of what she writes, and we'll eventually finally get to the management excerpt. So she says, inflation, it's a huge problem. It's affecting everything, including salaries. Yes, it's more work to have your human resources department look at what it would cost to replace someone than it is just to allot a small percentage to everyone. Still, if you don't do it, you'll not only lose more employees, you'll also end up paying the higher rate for their replacements. She thinks that if you pay employees more money, and if you give them bonuses, they're gonna leave. So her thinking is, if you treat your employees well, they might leave you, so treat them poorly and maybe they'll stay. I don't know if this woman's married, but I wanna have a talk with her husband. I wanna know how he's feeling in the household, right?
Okay, wow, you went there.
Is she punishing him so he stays? Like, is that her thinking?
Well, maybe he's into it, I don't know.
That's true, some people are into that.
No, seriously, I had trouble understanding her point. Because that sentence was so confusing. I read it twice before we got on air, and I'm like, so wait, it's worth it to go through the extra effort of looking for new people, so don't pay the bonuses? And she never quite explained, how do you not pay the bonuses? You said you'd give them bonuses. What do you go, haha, surprised there is none because I'm worried you're gonna quit? Which, by the way, would lead them probably to quitting.
100%.
So, but I think the larger point here is, yes, it's true. Most corporations are obsessed with, how do I pay you less? And so look, if they were obsessed with keeping employees, which is half of this article, right? Well, that's good. You want to be, but I would think, maybe I'm a naive CEO, but I would think that if you want to keep employees, you just treat them well.
Yeah, I think that works. Yeah, I mean, I like to be treated well. I don't know about you guys. You guys like to be, Edwin, you like to be treated well? Edwin likes to be treated well. Bart, you like to be treated well?
Of course I want to be treated well.
Everyone wants to be treated well.
Well, we have agreement.
And by the way, treated well means give me the money. Okay, that's what treated well means. Let me give you more. Make sure you have compensation that takes time to vest. I see this little trick, okay? So, stocks or 401k matches, for instance. If you make that valuable enough, you can increase your employee loyalty and help keep people around longer term. Listen, the benefits and perks that take time to vest, that's fine. In addition to the pay raises and the bonuses, okay? Okay, let's just be straight. And then finally, take your holiday bonus and enroll yourself in a management class. Heck, take your whole management team. It'll be worth the money. Put real effort into increasing your management skills, and you may find your turnover dropping instead of increasing.
No, but that's crazy. So
it's like the craziest thing anyone has ever written. And this magazine that gives advice to like corporate executives is like, hey, do this and everyone will quit. Like, I mean, it's like the worst advice ever. I can't believe that she was published.
Yeah. So look, guys, if you said to anyone, hey, good news, I'm not gonna give you your bonus. Instead, I've taken that money and enrolled you in a management class. Even the people who wanna go to management classes will be like, you did what?
It's like a husband buying his wife a vacuum, right? It's for her, but it's really for him.
Yeah, and I would argue, I get your frustration because I would argue it's actually worse. Because how about the people who didn't want to go to management class? Oh, good news. I took your bonus and I signed you up for school instead. And that was good news. How? And then her justification was, no, it's okay because it's going to make you more valuable in the long run. So then when you get more valuable, we'll take that bigger bonus and enroll you in another class. Yeah, but when do I actually get paid?
It's amazing. It's amazing. So, Suzanne, apologies, we did you dirty, but you deserved it. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
You know, old school to me from Jank. It'll just be me, you, Jesus, Ben, and maybe Michael. And we're like, okay, cool. I can do that every week. As you can see, me, Jesus, Ben.
When you make the order, it says, don't exceed $20.01. So I'll just order literally anything to get it as close to that as I possibly can.
I'm sorry that I ordered $45 worth of food and got an email saying, sir, would you like to rethink that? And I go, what are you talking about?
I was in hell. I was just like, oh my God, the theater's empty, nobody's here. Everyone on screen keeps f***ing cursing. Why did I let this happen? And the whole thing looks like it was shot through a glass of milk. My mom's gonna be so mad.
If you're looking for a heart attack, the short way, baby.
Wrong. I did put mayonnaise on it. I'm the most in shape, overweight person you'll find.
That's right.
He was like, why didn't you answer my call? I called you 39 times.
Yuck. But what makes you stop right before 40? You know, what makes you say, nah, man, I ain't doing that no more. I'm cool.
And I called you back on the air. And I was like, okay, Kevin Smith, big shot. What the f? You said you'd come on and you didn't come on.
I'm sure I took that very well.
Yeah, you did. You called me back the next day and said, I thought it was 7 a.m. There's now deep fake porn. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
I heard of it. I just had some in the car.
I'll tell you who I'm not f***ing, Ben Mankiewicz. Have you guys ever felt that?
Not ever.
And now it's just the three of us.
This is the intimate hour.
By the way, the last half hour of this, we're not even rolling.
Fair enough.
Kingsley.
See, I watch movies.
I'm done with both of you.
Once Craig starts laughing, I can't stop. And I was just gonna ask you about getting high.
Snoogans, Snoochie Boochies, and members, of course, you can get the whole damn thing. TYT.com, join, and free trial. I'm old school with the old folks.
Good
John, come back!
Field goal here. It's time to switch to beer.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Do your best.
He's a little like... Let's go!
Oh. No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh! Wow.
This is the weirdest game.
I'm Brett. I would like to refer to this segment as the Do I Still Have This Talent show. So I want to see if I can play harmonica without my hands. I don't know why I have that. Nothing's gonna be more impressive than that. I can also spin a basketball on my finger. While drinking. I'm gonna spin a basketball on my finger while drinking apple juice. You can do this, dude. It's also flat. I don't know if that helps or hurts. And it seems to be somewhat wobbly. Ta-da! Nope, I don't know how to do this one. This one's a fail. Nope. Oh God, I'm so mad.
All right. I was just selling Anna an aspiration account. She's like, I'm thinking of. All right. Back, Cenk, Anna, obviously, also news. forward.
All right. Donald Trump has not been in any way remorseful in inciting what happened on January 6th, the riots in the Capitol. He had encouraged the people at his rally to march on over to the Capitol, and we all saw how that unfolded. But what's also incredible is the fact that he can't help himself. Even considering what happened on that day, he's still bragging about crowd sizes. Let's watch.
Was it a mistake to have had that rally on that day?
Well, you know, I didn't have, that was a rally that was there. And if you look, it was a massive rally with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. I think it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And and I reverse it. The insurrection took place on November 3rd. That was election day. And before and after. That was, to me, the insurrection. And the January 6th was a protest. But if you would have looked at the crowds, the size, nobody wants to talk about that. I believe it was the biggest, and most people, and I've spoken to very big crowds. I have never spoken in front of a crowd that size. Nobody ever talks about that. And then, unfortunately, some bad things happened, but also the other side had some very bad things happen.
It's amazing. All of that was amazing. And in regard to bad things happening, right before the bad things started happening, Trump said this: after this, we're gonna walk down and I'll be there with you. He wasn't. He turned around, went to the White House. I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want. But I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. You have to show strength and you have to be strong. He said that in his rally, in the speech, right before the riots occurred in the Capitol. And again, he did not walk over there with the rioters. He immediately turned around, went to the White House, sat his butt down, and watched everything unfold in enjoyment.
Yeah, so there's a couple parts of the story that I love. Anna's, of course, right, that he not only went back to the White House, but started watching the rioting on TV and loved it. So when the people called him from inside the building, afraid for their lives, Kevin McCarthy, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence, etc., he told them, well, I guess you shouldn't have certified the election. So he was 100% in favor of that riot. Now, when asked about it, he says, well, at least it was a big crowd.
It's amazing. He can't help himself. He can't help himself. Even with everything else that transpired that day, he's like, big crowd. And the biggest I've ever seen. The biggest crowd of which the likes you've never seen before.
And he said, and nobody ever talks about that.
Who cares? Who cares?
I don't think that was the relevant fact about January 6th.
Dude, he's so entertaining. Like, he's so dangerous if he's in a position of power. Like, I just kind of want to watch him entertain me. Like, entertain me, because he's entertaining. He's so insane. And by the way, the whole thing about crowd sizes, that was like, his entire presidency was littered with that. Littered with it. In fact, we have receipts. Watch.
We made a speech and we had what was the name of the arena? That place was packed, right? That was some crowd.
Thank you for
And we had twice the number outside. And then you had this crazy Beto. Beto had like 400 people. I made a speech. I looked out. The field it looked like 1.5 million people. They showed a field where there were practically nobody standing there. It looked like 1.5 million people, whatever it was. But it went all the way back to the Washington Monument. In Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, we had 35,000 people. By the way, we get the biggest crowds by far. But we get the biggest crowds. And she'll say, but they never show the crowd. And I'll say, what do you mean they never show the crowd? And I realized they never turn the camera. And I always say, I figured maybe they're fixed. These are new cameras they can't turn. The only way you find out that they're not fixed, they're like pretzels the way they can turn them. By the way, I wish the cameras would get this crowd. This crowd is incredible. Look at the cameras back there. It's like the Academy Awards. Look at this. I have to tell you, I wish these fakers back there, the fake news, I wish they'd turn the cameras and show behind them, show outside these walls. Look at the people out there. Amazing. Look, they never turn the cameras. We went to Mississippi, we went to Missouri, we went to Nevada. We went to every place. And we have crowds. We have tens of thousands of people outside of every arena. They have to start building larger arenas in this country. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee.
Ladies, we all know what the situation really is when a dude is bragging about how big something is. I'm just saying.
Well, to be fair, he didn't brag about how big it was. He just guaranteed that there was no problem there.
No problem.
Okay, which by the way is an odd brag. If you're worried about my genitalia, no problems. There's no problems at all there. Okay, if you say so. I wasn't really asking, but okay, now I know. There are no problems.
People are saying
there are no problems with my genitalia. People are saying it. Okay, guys, so look, any rational person can see the guy's obsessed with his own ego. Doesn't speak awfully well of him. Do you like people in your lives who are obsessed with their own ego? But the second thing that it shows, obviously, is his deep, deep insecurity, right? You already got elected president of the United States of America. That's amazing. You're the most powerful man on earth at that time. What are you worried about the crowd size for? Like, in a sense, he reminds me of that last scene in Moneyball where they show a guy who had hit a home run but didn't realize it and is scrambling to get back to first base, and he's crawling on the ground, and they point up and they point to the stands. You got to know when you already hit a home run, right? You're the president of the United States. There was more people. They're not talking about the people. What, dude? Why are you so insecure? If you really have $10 billion and you're president of the United States and you're still worried about your hand size, like there's something wrong with you.
No.
But Anna, I just want to say one more thing about that in particular. It wound up being an ironic advantage because politics is all about branding. So the more he talked about crowd sizes, the more it seemed like he was popular because everybody's having a debate about his crowd size. Oh, crowd size. Whereas the Biden and the Democrats think, oh, you should never brag about anything. Well, then how will people know? Oh, it's unbecoming.
Oh,
no, that's
so much
terrible
to say.
politics.
No,
okay.
I have so much to say. Look, there's something so fascinating about what Trump can get away with that I don't think anyone else can really get away with. I mean, if we were constantly talking about how popular we are, welcome to the Young Turks, the largest show in the world. Okay, we have the largest audience in the world of any show, including television series that have nothing to do with news. Like, we're the biggest show. We're the biggest show. People are saying we have the largest audience in the world of any type of live entertainment. Any type of live entertainment that includes live sporting events, like everything, right? It's no one. People would turn it off, and they should because it's embarrassing. But real quick, I just think that as someone who's not a psychologist, I should spend a little time psychoanalyzing Trump and why he talks about crowd sizes so much. Because I really think it goes back to Inauguration Day and the comparisons that the news media was making in regard to Trump's crowd size on Inauguration Day versus Obama's crowd size. And that was it. I think that was the match that lit the fire. And then after that, it's like constantly in his head, I feel like. Every time he gives a speech, anytime he has a rally, he's thinking about those articles after Inauguration Day comparing his crowd size to Obama's crowd size. It's, he wants to measure his junk, like he's obsessed with it.
So that's of course true. By the way, there is, so are we the largest of all the shows, entertainment, et cetera? No, hold on. I'm gonna back up what you're saying. But we are the largest online news network, right? And sometimes I'm forced to say that, okay, but seriously, because people will say, oh no, you guys are small or whatever, and I'll be like, well look, the numbers actually indicate we're the largest. And so I'm correcting what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Anna's right, people hate it, right? Now, audience is a different thing, that's mixed reaction. But the people in power, the other people in media, they're like, how dare you state actual facts? We hate you for stating facts. Trump will make it up and will like say absurd, outrageous things. I'm the largest crowd in the universe. I checked all the other planets, and this one was the largest. And his audience loves it. But look, I think that there's a way to do it in politics, in the sphere of politics, and do it right. You don't have to make up things, and you don't have to constantly brag about your crowd size or your hand size or any other size. But you do have to brag about your policy positions. You do have to brag about the things that you did. Otherwise, in politics, no one will ever find out.
That I 100% agree with. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the other part of that answer that I didn't want to ignore because it was funny is when he asked him, well, do you feel responsibility for the crowd and the rally and then led to the riot? And Trump said, that was a rally that was there. You know why? He doesn't want to take personal responsibility for the rally because he thinks there might be legal consequences. So he was about to say in the beginning that they came for me and it was amazing and he couldn't help himself, and then later said it's like the largest thing I've ever seen, right? But when he realized, oh wait, I might be personally responsible, he said, that was a rally that was there. It just kind of showed up.
It's good that he's well trained in how to handle these things, so the interview doesn't become more of a liability in the future. But look, going back to the real issue here, which is what happened on that day with the encouragement of Donald Trump. Approximately 140 members of law enforcement suffered injuries in the attack. Law and order, people, law and order, including brain damage and crushed spinal discs. More than 130 rioters have been accused of assaulting police, and many allegedly used weapons such as pepper spray, stun guns, bats, and American flags wielded as clubs. 5 people ultimately died. So he doesn't care about any of that. He wants to talk about the crowd size.
But Anna, that ironically goes back to the same discussion we were having. And that's why I think this is really interesting. It's a funny clip, but there's a lot of substance behind it. So if Joe Biden bragged about a rally, a large rally that led to cops being murdered, the Republicans would shred him to pieces. They'd dismember him politically and maybe more, right? And they would certainly be impeached. They would have hearing after hearing after hearing, and they would call him the most evil monster of all time, and the rest of the media would instantly agree, right? Trump brags about, oh yeah, we had a large rally and then we beat up cops and we assaulted 130 of them, 5 people are dead. Yeah, it was so large. And everyone's like, oh, that's normal. That's normal. When Trump does it, it's normal. It's not normal. He's not only incredibly weird, but he's dangerous. When he thinks, hey, cops got beat up, cops got killed. Hey, at least it was good for my ego because I had a large rally that just was there. Okay, last funny thing is, he's like, they never turned the cameras. They never turned the cameras. Imagine if at a Trump rally, they turned the camera. You wouldn't see Trump. And then he'd be furious.
It's not a bad point.
Okay, why did you turn the camera? No one can see me. Why did you turn the camera? They're turning the cameras so people can't see me. You told them to turn the cameras. But if they turn them, then you're not on the camera.
All right, final break. When we come back, Lynn Wood is now directing his ire at Tucker Carlson. And also, a man gets kicked out of Disney World. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? We'll show you the clips and you'll decide for yourselves. We'll be right back.
Old school to me from Jank. It'll just be me, you, Jesus, Ben, and maybe Michael. And we're like, okay, cool. I can do that every week. As you can see, me, Jesus, Ben.
When you make the order, it says, don't exceed $20.01. So I'll just order literally anything to get it as close to that as I possibly can.
I'm sorry that I ordered $45 worth of food and got an email saying, sir, would you like to rethink that? And I go, what are you talking about?
I was in hell. I was just like, oh my God, the theater's empty, nobody's here. Everyone on screen keeps fucking cursing. Why did I let this happen? And the whole thing looks like it was shot through a glass of milk. My mom's gonna be so mad.
If you're looking for a heart attack, the short way, baby.
Wrong. I did put mayonnaise on it. I'm the most in shape, overweight person you'll find.
That's right.
He was like, why didn't you answer my call? I called you 39 times.
Yuck. But what makes you stop right before 40? What makes you say, nah, man, I ain't doing that no more. I'm cool.
And I called you back on the air. And I was like, okay, Kevin Smith, big shot. What the you said you'd come on and you didn't come on.
I'm sure I took that very well.
Yeah, you did. You called me back the next day and said, I thought it was 7 a.m. And there's now deep fake porn. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
Heard of it? I just had some in the car.
I'll tell you who I'm not f***ing, Ben Mankiewicz. Have you guys ever felt that?
Not ever.
And now it's just the three of us. This is the intimate hour.
By the way, the last half hour of this, we're not even rolling.
Fair enough.
Easily.
See, I watch movies.
I'm done with both of you.
Once Greg starts laughing, I can't stop. And I was just gonna ask you about getting high.
Snoogans, Snoochie Boochies.
And members, of course, you can get the whole damn thing. TYT.com, join and free trial. I'm old school with the old folks.
Good
John, come back.
Field goal here. It's time to switch to music.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Do your best.
He's a little like. Let's go!
Oh.
No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh!
Wow.
This is the weirdest game.
I'm Brett. I would like to refer to this segment as the Do I Still Have This Talent show. So I want to see if I can play harmonica without my hands. I don't know why I have that. Nothing's gonna be more impressive than that. I can also spin a basketball on my finger. While drinking. I'm gonna spin a basketball on my finger while drinking apple juice. You can do this, dude. It's also flat. I don't know if that helps or hurts. And it seems to be somewhat wobbly. Ta-da! Nope, I don't know how to do this one. This one's a fail. Nope. Oh God, I'm so mad.
All right, back on TYT, Jen Canano with you guys. Forward.
One of my favorite developments is how right-wing grifter Lynn Wood is now throwing stones at the very individuals he was all buddy-buddy with not too long ago. Right-wingers like Dan Bongino and Tucker Carlson, who now suddenly are part of the deep state. There you have it. They're part of the deep state.
Obviously.
I mean, Lynn Wood says it, so it must be true. Now, we gave you a little bit of his unraveling recently, and it was in response to Kyle Rittenhouse openly discussing how Lynn Wood and John Pierce, the initial lawyers representing him, fundraised, but then didn't use that money to bail him out. And he was furious about that, which is why they were fired, and Rittenhouse's family hired different counsel. And I want to give you the reminder of what he said. But after that happened, everything just kind of started falling apart for Lynn Wood. That by itself has been fascinating to watch, especially since he's now attacking other right-wingers. So here's Rittenhouse. Here's what he accused Lynn Wood of doing.
I was in jail for 87 days, and this goes as follows in with Lynn Wood, who Lynn Wood was raising money on my behalf, and he held me in jail for 87 days, disrespected my wishes, put me on media interviews, which I should never have done, which he said, oh, you're going to go talk to the Washington Post, which was not a good idea. Along with John Pierce, they said I was safer in jail instead of at home with my family. And then after I'm bailed.
Your lawyer said that?
My lawyer said that, John Pierce and Lynn Wood.
87 days is a long time to be in jail.
It was very long. I lost a lot of weight in there. I since then gained it back.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are the accusations against Lynn Wood. Okay, so
can I make a random
I
comment?
knew you were gonna want to. Okay, go ahead. Go.
First
go
of all,
ahead.
is there anybody more fake on television than Tucker Carlson?
No.
What was that laugh? Like, I know the feeling. Ah! Do you know the feeling? Why would you know the feeling? You're fairly skinny.
Is he?
I think so.
He
I mean,
looks
compared
normal.
to me, for sure, right? I would know the feeling.
I'm not saying he's overweight. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Like, okay, weirdo. But the awkward laugh, who cares, right? But all of his put-ons are fake, right? Like Anna made the best point. He that dumb face that he does on TV. He didn't used to make that face. I think he's doing it to appeal to his audience.
Yeah, okay. I do. I think everything he does is strategic because he's not a dumb guy. No. And I think that he wants to appear as relatable as possible, even though he's an incredibly wealthy Swanson TV dinner heir.
Yeah, and I don't care about the mansions and stuff, and everybody on TV is rich, including all the people on MSNBC. But he built a studio in one of his mansions, and it's like lumberjack style, and he always has like the flannel shirt. Yeah. I've never seen him in a, he's been in Washington, D.C. circuit for decades. I never saw him in a flannel shirt. No one's ever seen him in a flannel shirt.
He used to wear a bow tie.
Okay, he used to wear a bow tie.
He used to wear a bow tie.
He's like, oh, yeah, I just happened to walk into a lumber mill here in my flannel shirt. Okay, and what's going on with? I know we're going to go back to Lin Wood. But
Are we?
But what's going on with Rittenhouse and his weird way of talking, like Lin Wood?
Okay.
Lin Wood.
Okay.
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 All right. Anyway.
Who's that guy?
Wood.
Okay. All right, let's get back to Lin Wood because that's something that. Yeah. All right. So I hate everyone in this. So there's Lin Wood, and then there's Dan Bongino, who apparently,
said great.
Yeah, I know. Who heard what Rittenhouse had to say and then suddenly started criticizing Lin Wood. Fellow Fox News star Dan Bongino, a thrice failed Republican congressional candidate turned right-wing radio kingpin, has routinely bashed Wood on his daily podcast for having allegedly mismanaged Rittenhouse's initial bond. This triggered Lin Wood. Lin Wood did not like that. And so he says this: give these traitors to we the people enough rope and they eventually out themselves. And he posted that on Telegram. And it wasn't just about Dan Bongino, he was also referring to Tucker Carlson. And he deemed them as part of an extensive deep state plot, which he clarified as being very, very deep.
Oh my God, now
So
it's
deep.
really serious. I thought it was just very deep. I didn't know it was very, very deep.
Very, very, two varies.
That's so deep that it's got even Tucker Carlson, who also is seeming to be against the deep state, but is actually part of the deep state, and that's why it's very, very deep.
No, but
Lin Wood.
Okay. You guys, he's a lawyer.
Is he?
No, but like, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
No, I know.
How did that happen?
He's won cases. He won the case against the Washington Post. I mean, settlement, but still.
Come on. No, but everyone's lied to us, guys. Everything that we've been told growing up has been a complete and utter lie. The meritocracy, it's a lie. Law school is so hard. It's so hard to become a lawyer. Lie. Lie.
Lin Wood's a lawyer. How could it be that hard? I'm a lawyer. How could it be that hard?
No offense to all the lawyers out there, but come get your boy, because Lin Wood is embarrassing all of you.
Well, I like that thing that, so whenever a Muslim does an attack, the right wing says every Muslim in the world has to apologize for. Why? I don't know that, dude. What does he have to do with me, right? I like Anna stretching that to lawyers. All lawyers, come get your boy. You're responsible for Lin Wood.
Okay. Then he says this: Dan Bongino wrote Wood on Telegram last week before labeling the Fox star a deep state mockingbird who once protected Obama. And look, this is the weird twist in the story where I actually learned something from Lin Wood. I did not know that Dan Bongino worked in the Secret Service protecting Obama.
Yeah, that's true.
You knew that?
Yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a cop.
He seems to hide it.
Yeah, he's like Kamala Harris. He's a cop.
No, yeah, go ahead.
No, but of course, see, he was in the Secret Service. His job was to protect not only a cop, but to protect government officials. He's in favor of January 6th.
Of course he is.
Right.
Because that's what's paying him today. That's the lucrative grift that he's engaging in today.
Of course.
Yeah.
There are no winners in this story.
None.
Everyone is a bad guy, but I love that they're fighting. The fight is definitely real. The fight is here. But I'm going to be honest. I loathe Dan Bongino and Tucker Carlson. In this particular case, they're right. He's wrong.
Are they?
Or are they part of the very, very, very deep state, and that's why I missed it?
I mean, Linwood, I'm sure he's got the receipts he's gonna show us any day now. The other thing that I love about this story is Tucker Carlson's like, whatever. Like, he hasn't responded to any of this.
Of course, yeah.
But Dan Bongino can't help himself. Dan Bongino will respond to anyone. Okay, he will. He loves it. He loves getting into fights with people. It's his favorite thing in the world. So Dan Bongino responds and says, let's see who's got the guts. I'll tell you what, Lynn. You put down on your telegram in writing today your hard evidence. It's like so sexual, kind of.
Yeah, show me your hard evidence.
I have any connection whatsoever to the CIA. Let's put down in writing your case. And by the way, of course, Wood is yet to file any legal documents indicating that there's evidence in any of these claims. By the way, he was a defamation lawyer. The defamation lawyer has since taken to pointing out a dark patch under Bongino's left eyelid. Posted a plethora of zoomed in pictures of the talk radio host's cranium. Asked when his supposed litigation against Bongino and Carlson might actually be filed, Wood said in rather cryptic language that the deep state would not serve as a requirement to convert Dan Bongino into defendant Bongino. Watch it happen, he added. On my I don't even know what any of this means. I don't know what this means. On my timing, likely when Dan least expects it.
Why would it matter when you file a lawsuit and him not expecting it?
No, it's gonna be a surprise.
Like, it matters if you're doing some sort of violent attack and the guy doesn't expect it and you jump out of a bush like Michelle Bachmann in Minnesota, which she did at a LGBT event. And she's like, when you least expect it, I'm gonna hide in the bushes like a weirdo and jump out. Okay, that'll scare me. Okay, but a lawsuit when you least expect it. So what? Lawsuits take years. So then we'll hire a lawyer and then we'll sue there. What's that like? But guys, there's nobody innocent even on this issue, because Bongino and Tucker Carlson also think there's a deep state. They just think it's a very deep state, not a very, very deep state that includes them, right? So, but when you get into the field of lunacy and you've let go of reason and logic as a way of communicating, well, then how does anybody know who's right? For their followers, seriously. Right. So they never required logic, so they must be super confused now.
Can we just, let me just discuss this whole notion of a deep state. It ain't that deep. It's actually right in front of your faces every single day. Okay, Senate parliamentarian, an unelected person who gets to make decisions about what can get passed in the Senate through reconciliation. That's an undemocratic garbage position that should be completely eliminated. The Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is not a democratically elected group of people, okay? The chair of the Fed, Jerome Powell, was appointed by Donald Trump, confirmed by the Senate, and by the way, just recently reappointed by Joe Biden, even though he's been a complete and utter disaster as the chair of the Federal Reserve. But my point here is, these are individuals who have incredible amounts of power that can make insanely important decisions about our economy. We didn't vote for them, right? We had no choice there.
Look, some people aren't voted on, but the Fed is way worse, so that's a great example. You want to talk about deep state, guys? People making the decisions at the Fed are at the New York Fed, okay? And that's the biggest, most powerful one. They dictate policy. You know who sits on the board of the New York Fed? The CEOs of the top banks. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. The bankers control public money and then will very consistently decide to print trillions of dollars and give it to themselves.
Yeah.
That's the deep state. And why are they doing it? To kill people, to do this, to take away your rights? No, they're doing it for the money, Lebowski. It's not complicated. Of course. You know what the United States government treasury is? The biggest piggy bank in the world.
Yep.
And so they're looting it over and over and over. That's the actual deep state. And it's not complicated. It's not a conspiracy. It's out in the open.
It ain't that deep.
Yeah, it ain't that deep. It is definitely not very, very deep. Last thing, cranium. So yeah, Bongino has a weird cranium, okay? But we never talked about it because it's,
I never noticed his head.
No, really? His head's weird. Okay, put up his picture again. Fine. But why is he talking about his head? That looks fairly normal. But it sticks out and stuff. Who cares? Who cares? Right there, you see that? Okay, but he's not talking about it because like, oh, it's so noteworthy how weird his head is. It's barely weird, right?
I don't think his head is weird at all.
Right, that's a fair point, right? And Bongino has never revealed his race.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny, it's weird. He keeps it private for whatever reason, right?
Interesting.
I don't know if he wants people to think he's black or he doesn't want people to know he's black. I have no idea, okay? But I think that Lin Wood is putting up his head and going, look at this guy and look at how he looks.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, that's certainly something we've seen among right-wingers, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was really the objective there. But, you know, one other thing I want to say about the deep state. The deep state slaps us in the face on a daily basis, right? I mean, I keep thinking about the coup in Bolivia, the attempted coup in Bolivia, right? Evo Morales is out as a result of that. The United States very much had its fingerprints all over it. And Elon Musk on Twitter just openly said, we'll coup where we want. We'll coup who we want.
And the right wing loves him. But doing coups is the definition of the deep state, where we never voted to do a coup in that country. It's not official US policy. The CIA does it as part of the deep state. If the deep state means anything at all, that's literally what it means. When it is not official US policy and the government does it, some people within the government do it anyway.
Yes.
When they have not been authorized in our democracy to do it. And when you have the most verifiable case of it, doing a coup in a foreign country, the right wing's like, yes, the deep state, we love it. Wait, what?
Yeah.
But they get into wait what's all the time. So in this fight, which is great, right? I've seen the QAnon guys going, Lin Wood, right? And oh yeah, the Bongino's wrong and Rittenhouse is wrong. And then I've seen other QAnon guys go, Lin Wood, okay, and they're like, no, Tucker's right, because Tucker thinks it's only a very deep state. It's not a very, very deep state. It's only a very deep state.
You guys, just go read history. Just go read read Robert Caro's books. Believe it or not, watch some old C-SPAN clips. It's just
they're
there.
likely to do
I
that.
I know, but it's so interesting. It's so interesting.
I think it's interesting, but you're trying to get the right wing who's debating if it's a very, very deep state.
If they give it a shot, and they really love conspiracy, the conspiracies are slapping you in the face every single day. But like, I don't know, they just get sucked into nonsense. Like, look, I'm not a fan of Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is not deep state. He's just not, okay? He might be other things, not deep state. Tucker Carlson, dangerous guy, not deep state. Could be in the future though.
Yeah, and one last thing about the deep state. Trump was in charge for 4 years and they talked about the deep state 24/7 undermining Trump. Well then, why was he so weak and incompetent? You're the president of the United States, you have nearly infinite power, especially within your own government. Why was he constantly like, what are they doing to me? I can't, who are they? I don't know who they are. Lin Wood, help me. By the way, Lin Wood was one of the top lawyers for Trump who's saying the election was stolen. And Trump's like, yeah, Lin Wood.
No, Trump knows how to pick them.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, guys, bonus episode, super fun stories. That's what we do for members. You're gonna love it.
No, there's Power Hour next. What are you talking about?
Oh, my bad. Power Hour. You're gonna love it. Me and Nina Turner, hero of the week, villain of the week, TYT.com/join. We'll see you there.